All right, we got to drill down on this. Spotify shares are under pressure this morning after reporting first quarter results that I think a lot of people say look darn good. So joining us now is Daniel Ek. He's the founder, chairman, and CEO of Spotify. Daniel, I love it when you come on the show because you can explain what's really going on because your stock has often rallied after initial decline. So let's go right to it. I can see there's a reaction to the monthly average users being down, and so are your free users. So why are they down, and why does it matter?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me again, Jim. I think overall, we had a very solid first quarter, subs at the top end of the range, revenue at the top end of the range, and of course our gross margin as well at the top end of the range. But as you said, MU's a little bit softer. I think it really comes down to a very, very strong and solid 2020. And of course, as I outlined in my opening remarks as well on the earnings call, we are in a sort of recovery of COVID, and we're at various stages around the world. So some of the markets where we've experienced usually a lot of growth are now still very much in that COVID recovery process.
Well, at the same time, we can talk about some price increases here. You can't usually put them through unless you're confident. I find, and I often talk with Carl and David, Spotify's a bill you have to pay. It looks like the United States and UK, you agree with me.
Oh, for sure. And, we started doing that about 2-3 quarters ago. I talked about adding another leg to the stool, and the early results that we saw then was very encouraged, and that's obviously continued. And it's on the back of that we felt comfortable rolling it out in more markets. And I'm just very, very encouraged by the result that we're seeing across the board on engagement, and the Spotify users are getting a fantastic value for their money.
Well, let's talk about the value, because it seems like you are aggressively courting creators. And to not talk about podcasts is ridiculous. Your podcast business is exploding, isn't it?
Oh, it is for sure, Jim. So we've been growing the past few years from 5 million creators to 7 million creators, and this year 8 million creators, and it's growing very, very rapidly. And in the next few years, we think as many as 50 million creators will be on the Spotify platform. And that obviously means that they'll create more engaging content, which means more users will come on. And then the more users will come on, the more great creators will come on as well. So it's a real flywheel in the making.
Daniel, it's David. I well remember the day you joined us at the NYSE when you talked about podcasting as a strategic imperative for the company. I wonder, though, when I look at the company, in terms of what you pay the labels as a % of revenue, that's still overall revenue, isn't it? In other words, you haven't been able to separate revenue from podcasting from revenue from music. Is that something you will be able to do at some point?
Yeah, so we have two totally different revenue streams for podcasters and for music. The gross margin profile for podcasting obviously is a bit different. We're still very much in the investment phase in our podcasting stage, but over time I expect them to be a little bit better than we have on the music side. So that's obviously going to contribute to a much better story over time for Spotify.
Daniel, Joe Rogan's obviously a huge influencer. What he said about vaccines and younger people continues to make news. What's the ready response to that, and how difficult is it to remain, I guess, agnostic about his comments regarding a vaccine when we know how important it is for countries to get their populations vaccinated?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to what any one creator is talking about on the platform. We have 8 million creators and hundreds of millions of pieces of content. So we have a content policy on Spotify, and we, consistently applies it across the board, no matter if it's Joe Rogan or any one of our other creators.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.